Hi, sweet ones. On today's episode of Embodied Divinity, I had the pleasure of interviewing my dear friend Adam and his partner Charlie, who are amazing Bufo facilitators, and they are here to talk to you all about this powerful and sacred medicine. You can find all the links to work with Adam and Charlie below. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Embodied Divinity. I'm so excited for you to meet these two powerful beings sitting in front of me, Adam and Charlie. You just heard all about them in the intro. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So I'm going to start you out with our signature question. Everybody loves this question so much. How did you become the person sitting in front of me today?
Wow, that's a big you know, I think it all started with the love of our families and especially our mothers. I'll speak for myself and just being incredibly nurtured by a powerful mother figure who essentially, in my situation, raised her kids pretty solely, like a single mother life, and just always inspiring me to do the best I can. And I've always had an incredible desire to help people, and that's really translated into the work I'm doing now. From first working in hospitals, thinking that that was the way to go in healthcare, and I did as much as I could there, and then it led me to medicine work, and it's been a journey. It's been incredibly magical, and grateful to be here.
I love that. How about you, Adam?
I mean, very similar, just an incredible family where, I knew nothing but love and family and nature and animals, and just such a good grounding structure to then evolve into doing what we do. And as I've gone through many different experiences, and through God and so many other people helping, it was just all about, healing myself first before I could then help heal others.
It's so cool to see you guys in front of me, and both of your stories, like, I feel resonance because Charlie, I used to be in education, so I was a teacher and then a principal, and I felt like I served so much until I could no longer serve there. And then now I'm a facilitator, teacher in this different spiritual world, right? And then with Adam, like I've felt your love, and I've seen some of the trials you've gone through and the way that you've built yourself up from that. And I too have had my like really dark moments that have allowed me to hold so much more space for the people that I serve. And so I just think it's so cool to see the way life comes full circle for us all, especially those of us on the healing path. So what has that been like for you guys of using your own life experience, and not just like the ooey gooey love and light parts, right? But the deep, dark, twisty parts. What has it been like for you to kind of transform and alchemize that into what you're doing now?
Um, the most beautiful, challenging work that you can do, honestly, is to really meet yourself in those the darkest places. But along my journey, I've always known that when I was in those dark places, whether it had been so candidly doing, like experimenting with drugs in my past, um, or even just navigating depression and all the stuff that comes with it of being gay in a world that at the time still wasn't so safe to be that way. I mean, there's so many gifts that came from my adversity, and in that in the strength that you find in that adversity comes the potential of your character, the potential of the work that we do, and the the ability to help people in those ways and how we relate. And I always have felt that I connected better with women, and I think it's because we Adam and I were just talking about this the other day, that I think a lot of women feel that maybe heterosexual facilitators may be unsafe for them still. And hopefully we can provide a space where there's no sexual um, anything, and that is just, let me show you how it's safe to be in a man's presence. And then similarly, if I can pass that along to model to my straight friends, if I can just like soften them up a little bit or whatever, and they teach me how to be more of a man, and in that way we share a lot of lessons like that.
Wow. I think that's really cool that you say that. I know for me that some of my deepest healing came from like really intimate emotional connections that I've had with my gay friends who I didn't have to feel that sexual need or desire from, because that's all as a woman for so long, that's all I felt with men was just like the sexuality part. Is like cis white men especially were so hard for me to heal with. And the relationships that I have had, that the sexuality was at least the perverted sexuality, the dark sexuality was taken out of it, and it was just an intimate, beautiful connection. Healed so much of my safety with men, and it also allowed me as a woman to stand more in my power with cis men in general, because I felt what a true masculine could feel like without that need or desire. So I love that you say that. And I think it's such a powerful presence to bring to the table, especially in the kind of work that you do. Um, Before we dive into the ways that you guys like facilitate healing and the things that you do, Adam, I'd love to hear from you the same question, and I'll just repeat it because we've talked so much of just like, how have you used your darkness to develop a capacity to hold more light for people?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, just for people to realize, I always go back to like addiction can be a superpower too. We feel so much, so we want to escape. Um, but harnessing that energy and healing, the chakra is like, wow. I mean, what that can be channeled into is so incredible. But also like the shame and guilt that comes with you know, anybody's past that we've all gone through is like, for people to realize that those are just critical life lessons, and when shame is released, to look back on those lessons and be like, oh my God, those were just beautiful moments, you know, at a different consciousness. And realizing that has helped me just release shame, guilt, and all that, and just realize what beautiful lessons they were. But also the self-worth and love factor, just that we feel we just provide so well, is not only just with the medicine, but for everybody to know like how worthy they are, how loved they are, and it's just absolutely incredible.
I love that. Speaking of love, a holy relationship. It's just for me coming from a personal point of view of like seeing your evolution, Adam, and seeing how happy you and Charlie are, but not only happy, really living in your purpose, co-facilitating together. Can we talk a little bit about what you've learned from each other, how your relationships evolved, and like how it feels to be doing this together?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Tell me all the things. Give me the
Oh
deep.
my gosh, how long do we have? It's been 2 years in April that we've even, that we met each other in person. So we've been talking beforehand, but I mean, in 2 years, so much has happened. I feel like I've overcome a tremendous amount of control issues, feeling, from either past relationships or past friendships, or even family situations where I felt unsafe. So I felt like I had to control everything. I had to micromanage. And Adam has really helped me release a lot of that so that we can co-create together. And it's it's incredible. I mean, there's so many lessons. It would take a long time to explain them all, but
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the biggest thing I've learned was not to take things so seriously, or not to take things personal. I thought everything was kind of an attack at me in the beginning, when it was
Yeah.
just, Charlie's higher self teaching me, like you're worthy just how you are. You don't need to, this is not directed at you. This is a trauma from, my dad's side or whatever. It's not, you know, things get played out so we can see it and then move past and not to attach to what's happening. Just totally like, okay, this is cool. Let's, what's next.
I love that. How does it feel now where you've kind of both overcome so much and learned so much from each other? What does it feel walking together now?
Feels honestly, for me, I've always felt this connection. It's always been there, but now I feel like it's clearer. It's the communication has just strengthened even more, and we feel free. We feel free to be ourselves around each other, and people feel that in the way that we serve and just the way that we show up. It's everything. It's really feel blessed.
Yeah, I think, I just really want like everybody to know that when they're in this type of, relationship dynamic, that in those low spots, like you're about to go real high, if you commit and break through what seems so, horrible and jarring and you just want to run, but you work through it, then you get to a higher high. And I mean, we're closer than ever now.
That's amazing. Before I dive into my next question, I just have to say how fun it is to see your family behind you or whoever it is. And just like the fact that you're sitting here, right, speaking about this, speaking so freely, and the healing it's also got to bring to them, right, to hear these perspectives, especially seeing both of you wherever you've come from and who you've become now. And such a powerful, like, linear effect on the family line. Do you have anything to say about that?
Tremendous. Even, outside of separate from the medicine, they see how much joy we bring each other, and that's really all I can imagine a parent wants for their kid, right? So I think that really does have an effect, and but the medicine also has an effect on, you know, uh, they see how much it's helped us, and so by proxy, it radiates out in that way.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just again so blessed to have such a great family, but they've shifted a lot since, and I really feel like it's just from us just being here, grounded and showing up present and loving and kind of unwavering with the external. And again, like this firsthand. I mean, so many like patterns have been dissolved and all that stuff too. So now we're just able to be here and love.
That is so cool. Well, we got to talk more about the medicine you guys facilitate. I want to know a lot of things though. I want to know how it feels to do it together. I mean, I know for me, like the idea of having a partner that you love so much that you're also doing this purposeful work with is got to be so powerful. But also just more in general, I think sacred medicines are there can be a stigma around them and there can be a lot of ideas around them. So whatever feels right to share in this moment about kind of that concept, I would love to hear from.
There is a stigma. I think we've gained incredible amount of support the past year or 2 years with all the research that's being done um, and legislation in favor of these treatments and medicines. However, I think there's stigma attached, especially when I first started serving. People thought this was something sexual. You guys go out into the woods, and what are you doing out there? And you take your clothes off, and it's nice to see that we're not in that arena anymore in terms of thought about these things. But it is, first of all, we do everything ceremonially, and the ceremony aspect is super important for sacred medicines, especially because it sets this parameter and this framework by which the participants and the facilitators understand what's happening. And so it's this container whereby we set our intentions, we open ceremony, we set our intentions, we give our respect in terms of, whether it's a prayer or if we're here to honor something very important to us, or heal something very specific. And and then we go through the ceremony. One person goes at a time, and then we will close ceremony together. And it's really important that whatever happens in ceremony stays in ceremony, and that's sacred. It's incredibly important that we keep these medicines sacred, because in that way we honor our own humanity through these ceremonies. We honor the future of what they can be, and the future of the work that we're doing, because this is going to be generational healing that we do.
Yeah, and gosh, I just can't say enough things about the medicine, but definitely being in ceremony space with Charlie, it's more of a just such a home feeling. The medicine is ancient yet galactic too. So I mean, I've been remembering Mayan times and all sorts of other incredible things. And I believe the first time I did medicine, actually the very first time, I saw Charlie and I in a teepee. And I was like, is this a past life or something else? And a year later, that moment was created. We were serving a private ceremony in a teepee, and the medicine showed me that moment, which was my first ceremony. So it's just incredible.
We could go into like
The magic.
the magic of these medicines. We work specifically with Bufo, 5-MeO-DMT.
Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so Bufo is the Bufo medicine is from the Bufo toad, Bufo alvarius toad, and its main psychoactive component is 5-MeO-DMT. And this is different from NN-DMT, which is going to be found in ayahuasca. And they're notably different in quality. NN-DMT is going to be more of a visual experience, while 5-MeO is just a profound heart opener. So you don't really see much outside of yourself. And I think that is a utility of the medicine itself. It doesn't want to distract you with what's going on outside. It's a very internal process, very personal process. It connects you with your heart. It reaffirms what's important to you, what matters. And it really puts the pieces together about, connects the dots of why the people who are in your life, why they are there, how they matter to you, and why you had to experience every little thing in order to get you to the moment where you're at right now. And in that way, you see that your entire life has been perfect. And it always has been, and it always will be. And the more that we can move into that knowing every day, with or without medicine, the more that we can live that fully embodied life of flow and ease and grace. And that's what it's all about.
I love that. I think it's so powerful, especially like the heart openers, and the ability to see the perfection of the universe unfolding. How do you source your Bufo?
So we work with somebody who gets it from the Seri tribe, from the Sonoran Desert in Mexico. We go to great lengths to make sure that this medicine is harvested ethically in a way that maintains the integrity of the toads and the people who harvest the medicine. Because there's a lot. What's that?
That's so important.
It is. It makes sure it makes sure that we can continue doing this work into the future.
Yeah. So why would somebody want to have this experience?
I mean, anybody who wants a computer software update, it's just literally like plugging yourself into a new incredible version of yourself without all those self-limiting beliefs, anxiety, depression, whatever it may be, because it gets to that core chakra wound. It gets to whatever it may be. It's going to go there. And the medicine is so incredibly conscious that at the same time as it goes there, it shows you how incredibly loving it is. Like it's okay to go to those places. You're cared for. It's okay to release that, but it's also okay to receive unconditional love, bliss, happiness, and joy. And hey, you want some spiritual gifts? Let's sprinkle that on you too.
It's so multidimensional in that way.
Yeah.
I think that the medicine there for your first time is going to be typically pretty gentle in terms of the love that it's going to show you. And then if you choose to go deeper or go into another process, you may get into some things that you really needed to look at. But all in all, whether you do it once or multiple times, it's going to give you what you need in each moment. I find that the people who have the most success with having or the most success with taking this medicine in terms of like reaping the benefits of it are the people who have come to ceremony having already done their inner work, whether it be their shadow work or their light work, whatever they identify with. Those are the people who are going to leave ceremony, know what to do with the information that they've gathered, and make it be sustainable for them in their life with that integration.
So what does it look like? Can you walk us through like the moment they arrive to the moment they leave?
Yeah. So, when somebody signs up to do a ceremony, we do an intake call that, that can be a half an hour to an hour long, but just really dive deep into what they're going through, get to know their background, all that. And then they show up probably about an hour or so beforehand. When everybody shows up, we do a integration circle. So everybody gets to know each other, and it's always so beautifully synchronistic how other people are there to kind of mirror other people. And we go over what ceremony is going to look like, what can happen. And then we go right into ceremony. Opening, we do some prayers and call in the directions. And calling in the directions is a whole other incredibly magic thing, because you're calling in all elements of Earth, and then Mother Nature comes through. And if somebody's in the south where the inner child is, and a huge gust of wind comes through, and that the inner child is doing the work.
So we kind of explain to them beforehand the set of the ceremony space, and we'll point out the 4 directions for them, and they can kind of follow along if they're paying attention to maybe a bird is in the west, and in the medicine they connected to their feminine, or it really is like a compass that dictates, it's like the microcosm of the macro. And in that way we're all healing aspects of ourselves, and that nature comes in to show us this and kind of direct us in that way.
So what's next? So you arrive at ceremony and you're doing the integration, you're calling in the directions, and then what?
Yep. Then we start. We always just kind of go by intuition, whoever goes first, and we just go one by one, and just kind of really, like, we take a long time just to step back and pray, and see what needs to kind of be done at any particular given moment. And then we close, have another integration circle, and that's pretty much it.
You'll have to come to a ceremony to find out.
Yeah, for sure.
But for sure, we like to make sure that everybody gets as much time as possible. We don't rush their processes. So, as Adam said, we open the ceremony. We'll have them put their own intentions into the fire, with whether it be tobacco or some other form of honoring. And then, like Adam said, we'll go one by one. And usually right before they take the medicine, they'll read a prayer that we have prepared for them, or they can offer their own prayer for the intention that they brought for the ceremony. And processes could last their individual process could last anywhere from 20 to 35 or more minutes. But we want to make sure that everyone gets their ample amount of time in their process. We don't want to rush anything.
That's so cool. What a beautiful way to bring it all together. So powerful. Is there anything you want to share with us, just in general, like as a message to those listening here today?
Well, firstly, medicines are an incredible way to access these really beautiful parts of ourselves that may not be accessible otherwise. But the truth of it is I have done more spirit. I've experienced more spiritual growth outside of the medicine than I have with the medicine. While each process can be completely different, it's essentially the same teaching is love yourself. You are worthy, and if you can just relax a little bit, everything is playing out perfectly.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, I think mine would be just always come back to the heart, always. Um, but lean into the resistance. You know, the resistance is where growth is, and we just make up a story bigger than it has to be when you know that resistance is shown right to us because you're about to go high, high, high.
Oh, so powerful. I'm so excited for people to hear more about this. So, as we wrap up, I'd love for you to share with us the ways people can work with you. Charlie, I know you make jewelry. I'd love to hear about that. And then everything you need to connect with Charlie and Adam, their Instagram links and any other links they have provided me are below this episode. So, share with us, please.
Yeah, so our website is www.letsgoquantum.com. My Instagram is lets.go.quantum.
Uh, my Facebook is Adam Sherman and Instagram is Adam C. Sherman.
And as far as my jewelry goes, it's something that I've wanted to roll out here. I make jewelry. I've made jewelry for a few years, but I'm hoping to get my website up pretty soon here. But it's called Seven Relics, and I incorporate the elements and crystals, and it's very like neo relics essentially.
Ooh, so excited. So reach out to these beautiful beings if you are interested in any of their offerings. I can't recommend them enough. I'm so excited that you're here. And you guys, I don't know Charlie as well, but I feel your energy and it's beautiful. And I know Adam, and just who he is pure love. So please reach out if you feel called to this sacred medicine or any of their sacred offerings. And thank you both for being here today.
Thank you for having us. So good to see you.
You too. Everybody listening, as always, breathe deep and plan on miracles. See you next time.